Welcome to the Contrarians, where we are right and you are wrong. I'm Julio.
And I'm Alex. Here on the show, we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine. For the first half of each episode, Contrarians Corner, we trash the fresh red tomatoes and praise the rotten green splotches, making our case any way we can.
The aptly titled Real Talk serves as the second half of each episode. This is where we discuss our true feelings on the movie we're covering. For more information on our podcast and to browse past episodes, you can head over to our website, wearethecontrarians.com.
From there, you can also access our Patreon and merchandise, because capitalism.
If you enjoy our attempts at comedic film discussions, we encourage you to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
If you'd like to reach out to us directly, that's what social media is for. You can find us on most platforms as @ContrarianPrime.
You can also see what we look like if you go to youtube.com/@ContrarianPrime, and you can contact us by email at wearethecontrarians@gmail.com.
I think that covers it.
Then it's time for the podcast. And we are recording for Contrarians Corner for that awkward moment.
Hello and welcome to the Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong. My name is Alex, joined as always by my Peruvian counterpart, Julio Oliveira, here today to tackle yet another patron demand and a, what is this? A rom-com? Yet another rom-com in the...
A bro-com.
A bro-com in the hallowed halls of the Contrarians. So yeah, alongside what? Pain and Gain, and what else would be a bro-com?
Oh man, now I'm on the spot. I should have thought this joke through. I don't know. Maybe we are breaking new ground, Alex. Maybe we just haven't covered bro-coms.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, they're not overly common. And I guess we could say we did over on our Patreon talk about Friendship recently, which is definitely a bro movie.
Different kind of bro, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And first time since our Iron Claw coverage that we'll be discussing the works of Zac Efron. First time since Whiplash, I believe, that we'll be discussing the enigmatic Miles Teller, and then
the ever so punchable Miles Teller.
And Michael B. Jordan. Have we done a movie with him before?
I don't think so. I think that other than your brief comments on Black Panther on the lead up to our Avengers Endgame episode, that might have been it.
Well, he's here now.
Fruitvale Station has come up before.
It has. And it is not a movie that I will ever allow to be done in full format on our show because no thank you. But he is quite good in that. So that awkward moment from 2014, I remember this movie. This would have been at the tail end of my working in the movie theater industry. I remember it kind of coming and going at the theater we were at. But I remember sneaking some views at it from the projection booth or kind of walking into the theater. On an $8 million budget, made $40 million. So as we discussed, or do discuss repeatedly, movies like this have a place. Not critically, though. As this came in at 23%. It stands at 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. So, of course, here in the first half, we'll be finding a way to build it up. But, Julio, why are we discussing this evening?
You know who's more enigmatic than Miles Teller? Patron Jason Nerdrovert, with the criteria he uses for his patron picks. Really don't know what's going to come down the pipeline whenever Jason said the bat. Just recently, we did Le Samurai on the Patreon channel, just as he requested, which is a really artsy French movie. And now here we go with just an R-rated bro comedy that would put Judd Apatow to shame. Yeah, Jason, here we are. This is something you requested, so hopefully we do it justice. Because minor spoiler, Alex, he gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd.
My God.
Yeah. I screenshotted his 1-sentence review for Real Talk.
Tremendous. Do you remember this movie? You have any memory of it?
Yes, I've seen it before. I had to face my own Letterboxd rating from 2015. That's when I saw it. The only time that I've seen it before. So I didn't catch it in theaters. I caught it on cable. And it was one of those movies that I was aware of mainly because of its cast and because it looked like a movie that I would just make fun of. So look at that. 10 years later, I get to make fun of it. Not just for me, but for everybody else that's listening. Dreams do come true. At the time, I think that I was mostly aware of Zac Efron as a big name, and Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller more as like up and comers. But now, when you watch it today, I mean, you could argue that Efron might be no, he's still. They're probably about the same, right? The same level of celebrity. I think Michael B. Jordan might be edging them.
Yeah, I think Zac Efron's still a bigger star than Miles Teller. But yeah, definitely the cast with Imogene Poots and Mackenzie Davis also comes off a bit more stacked than it would have in 2014. These
were their early years. The kids just trying to make it in Hollywood or New York, as it were.
Of course, wouldn't be a fucking rom-com without the setting being New York City. Where again, we're not entirely sure. We know what Zac Efron and Miles Teller do, and Michael B. Jordan is a
doctor.
A doctor. So yeah, that pans out. But Mackenzie Davis, is it ever explained what she does?
I think she's just rich.
Well, there you go.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because the soiree with her parents that's very regal, and so yeah. Okay, never mind. Checks out.
I don't know what Miles Teller does, Alex. I know that Zac Efron does the drawings, but are you telling me that what they do requires two people?
Apparently, according to this film.
Oh, maybe Efron is the talent and Miles Teller is the personality. He's the one that's there for the pitches.
Yeah, he's the pitch man.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. Is he the charming one here, Alex?
I think that's what they tried to establish Miles Teller in everything he was in at the beginning of his run. But Julio, 23%. Before we get into it, what critical quotes did you pull for us this evening?
Holy shit. Everyone, how's it going?
It was very tempting to just pull rotten quotes from women critics, from female critics for this half, and then do just fresh quotes from male critics in Real Talk. But then I thought maybe somebody would misunderstand the joke. So instead, here's a healthy mix. I'm going to start with Francesca Rutkin from the New Zealand Herald, who says, that awkward moment is a strange mix of old-school male characters you may have met in a 90s bar and saucy and irreverent humor sometimes pushed so hard it falls flat. You get 90s vibes from this movie, Alex?
I mean, in a certain sense, it feels like that's what it's trying to do, is harken back to the rom-coms or R-rated comedies of the 90s, but obviously with a bit of a modern tilt on it.
So I guess that the modern Stifler is the Miles Teller character in this movie?
He wishes.
If Stifler fell in love. Next, Tara Thorne from The Coast, Halifax, Nova Scotia, says, 3 of the best young actors working, Zac Efron, Michael B. Jordan, and Miles Teller, star in this tonal misfire that can't decide whether it wants to be American Pie or early David Gordon Green, and so we all suffer. What's early David Gordon Green? Prince Avalanche?
That would only have been a year before this.
The Sitter?
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. No, David Gordon Green. I mean, he made Pineapple Express and Your Highness. So, but when they say early, I'm thinking like, fucking 90s or some shit. Let's see here. Yeah, his first film was in 2000. So I'm assuming it's referencing Pineapple Express specifically.
I mean, I don't see it.
I don't either, but that's what I really have no other. The Sitter, maybe, like you said, but
yeah. Maybe his indie unreleased work. This is what they're talking about.
Yes.
All right. See, let's switch to a guy. Graham Young from Birmingham Mail says, Birmingham Mail, not male, but male. Playing like an explicit junior equivalent of Sex and the City, combined with the emotional immaturity that Adam Sandler delivers with his own style of ensemble movies, the film's plotlines are messy and unfocused. These critics can't stop comparing the movie to other things. Sex and the City, Alex?
In the sense that there's several people dealing with relationship issues at the same time, I guess.
In New York.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. This is 11 years ago, and just the way I don't know if that's even really how film reviews and how film critics operate anymore. Is this is just a ripoff of this? It's obviously now it's TikToks and shit like that, so it's not the same as like writing, but I don't know. I immediately am kind of taken aback sounds a bit dramatic, but I'm immediately transfixed on these reviews for a movie that's not even 20 years old for how cynical the response was.
I think that there's two ways of, because when you're pitching a movie, ideally, right, or at least the way they tell you is that it would help you if you are going to the producers and telling them, okay, I have this movie, that awkward moment. Imagine Sex and the City, but it's dudes that behave like Adam Sandler. So I can see the value in that kind of comparison. But after the fact, when you're reviewing it, I guess maybe you're trying to use shorthand to get the readers in the right mood, and then you go on. But it's not particularly insightful. So when I read this, I'm like, okay, but what is the movie about? I guess a green splotch is supposed to tell me everything else. One more, Alex, from Kevin Jaggernoth. Man, if that's his real last name, that's amazing. From the playlist, who says, it's that awkward moment when you realize you could have spent that $12 on anything else. Do you feel bad for Kevin because he went to see that awkward moment by himself? Because that was not a date if he was paying $12.
Yeah, movie tickets cost more than that now.
Even back then.
He must have gone to the Tuesday matinee or some shit.
Tuesday matinee. His girl was like, all right, let's watch something romantic. And then he unleashes these three bros on her. Those are the quotes, Alex. Let's do it. Let's go to, what is it, Gramercy Park?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Isn't that where they end up on their would-be date?
Yeah, it's a big romantic gesture. One of the many big romantic gestures in this movie. It's a romance, Alex. It's a bro rom-com. Let's go to Contrarians Corner.
Hey, you guys want a mint?
That's a weird mint, dude.
It's because it's a boner pill. You got 4 hours to drink like Keith Richards, still get funky. Okay.
It is a film written and directed by Tom Gormican, which some of his more recent credits include being a writer on the Beverly Hills Cop that came out last year on Netflix. And also Ghosted, which was a TV show with Craig Robinson. Looks like he was attached to. And Anaconda, the horror movie that looks like it's coming out later this year, he wrote and directed.
Oh, the new Anaconda. Okay.
With Jack Black, Paul Rudd, Steve Zahn. Why not?
That sounds made up.
It very much does. That's the Tropic Thunder trailer. Zac Efron, Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Imogene Poots, Mackenzie Davis, and Jessica Lucas, who Miss Lucas was the only one I was not familiar with. She's Michael B. Jordan's estranged wife. Oh, she was in Cloverfield, so that would be what I know her from. And she really hasn't done too many movies outside of this.
That was it. The audience has turned on her after the way she treated Michael B. Jordan in this movie.
Can't blame him. Jason, this is Zac Efron, is sitting on a bench in New York City waiting for someone to arrive. His voiceover explains that he has been waiting for a long time, but to explain why, he needs to go back to the beginning. Jason tells the audience that every relationship reaches the so moment when someone in the relationship will want to take the relationship in a more serious place. To a more serious place. At that point, Jason knows the relationship is over, as he is never ready to give up the hookup culture.
Never. I mean, I know what it is. I just hearing it verbalized is really funny. Hookup culture. I mean, I don't know. I guess we've all been there at some point.
Yeah, and I mean, if you find the right partner for that situation, you never really have to give that up. You know, that's for those who've been on dating apps in very liberal cities like Austin. You know that the ethically non-monogamous society is very prevalent. Not for me, but no judgment out there. So, I mean, Julio, what we're going to come across numerous times in this discussion is that, yes, this is very formulaic. And yes, the Jason character is the archetype of the pretty boy who has it so well and, but he's just not willing to settle down. Do you buy Zac Efron in this role?
Yes. I mean, this is made for him. Out of the only one that might be a little that I was iffy on at the beginning was Miles Teller, because Miles Teller, he's a cute kid, but he's not a stud the way that Michael B. Jordan and Zac Efron are, right? So I can believe that Zac Efron and Michael B. Jordan are successful when what is it? Hookup culture? when immersing themselves in the hookup scene. Miles Teller, he has to, I mean, thank God he's charming, because that's really what makes it work. When you put the three of them together, he's like the least impressive among the three. And so, but yeah, Zac Efron, I mean, he's Kevin from, the Iron Claw.
Oh, no, I know. We're a ways off from that, though, I fear.
He would be Kevin. So, no, yeah, I think that the one fact that nobody can argue about Zac Efron, you can feel one way or another about his acting, but the looks, he's got the looks, and that's basically a major asset when you're a single person in New York looking for a partner. So yeah, no, I buy him. I buy him as successful, and I buy the world, even though I am so far removed from it. My memories of whatever passed as hookup culture when I was single are very, very blurry. But this feels lived in. This feels like they feel like friends. I think that maybe that's the biggest thing that the movie has going for it. That there's really good chemistry between the three of them, right?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. One of the stronger things this movie has, the writing might not be the strongest, but the acting's good, and the chemistry between all of the main players is very believable. The quirk of Miles Teller taking a shit at someone else's apartment is very concerning to me, though. That's straight up psychotic behavior.
Like, that's not, people don't do that. Is that what you're saying?
No,
I've never had that happen. I think I have better friends than Zac Efron.
They drink a lot of scotch too. That appears to be what they drink, which strikes me as odd because it seems like they'd be more like fucking vodka and Red Bull guys, just the way the characters are portrayed in this. But
Jaeger bombs.
So Miles Teller is a hot idiot. That's his character in this. And then Michael B. Jordan is, I would almost say he's the overly sensitive friend of the bunch, but we immediately meet his character by finding out that his wife has been cheating on him and is looking to separate. He's sensitive and he's kind and, wants to do well. And he's obviously a great actor. And I think he's the one that was given the right role, because I certainly couldn't buy Miles Teller in this role. And Zac Efron, like we said, we're 10 years away from the Iron Claw, so we didn't know he quite had that in him yet.
Yeah, no, Efron, he had to play in this sandbox for a little longer before he could take on grown-up roles. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan they had to give him the character with a little more depth that has a lot more going on, because he is already, you can tell that he's ready to break out into being a major superstar that will be one of the biggest, most celebrated villains in the MCU. So of course they had to give him something to keep him entertained, to keep his attention. It was like that, those kids that skip a grade just so they don't get bored when they're just studying with their peers. He makes you buy it, because the first thought that pops into your mind is, who would cheat on Michael B. Jordan? Can you imagine?
No shit.
You're married to Michael B. Jordan, and he's not even a bum, Jules. He's a doctor. The guy, like he says at some point in the movie, he checked all the boxes, and yet this wife of his decides to go with a lawyer that looks like Morris Chestnut, which is a running joke in the movie that delighted me every time it came up. Do you know who Morris Chestnut is?
Yeah, Ricky.
Well, yeah, the movie tells you that. Before the movie told you who Morris Chestnut was, did you know who he was?
I knew the name, but I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't put a face to it, and so when I googled it, it did make me laugh out loud.
Ricky!
When I worked at the Cinemark College Station, there was an older cashier. She only worked box office, and my first job, like my entry point, was box office. I was working box office, and sometimes I would work with her. With this older black lady, and she was kind of quiet, and we didn't have a whole lot to talk about. But one time, I don't remember, I guess Morris Chestnut was in a movie that was out, and she went on this like 10-minute soliloquy about how hot Morris Chestnut was.
That's awesome.
And I was like Miles Teller at the beginning of this movie. I was like, who the fuck is Morris Chestnut?
Oh, Ricky. I love Ricky.
Yeah, once I figured out who he was, I was like, oh, okay. And now I will never forget who Morris Chestnut is. So to me, Morris Chestnut is just the dude that lady in the box office had a crush on. To hear him be referenced here out of nowhere, it's awesome.
Ricky!
Jason is currently working with his best friend Daniel, that's Miles Teller, at a publishing house designing book covers. Their doctor friend Mikey, Michael B. Jordan, big stretch with the name there, who has been married since the end of college, comes to them after his wife Vera requests a divorce. They decide to go out to a bar and celebrate Mikey now being single. The group meets up with Daniel's female wingman, Chelsea, as they try to get Mikey's mind off his wife. Female wingman here, Mackenzie Davis.
Returning to the Contrarians, Alex.
Yes. It took me a minute to remember what I knew her from. Yes, she's in Terminator Dark Fate, but she is also Harper in Happiest Season, that Hulu Christmas movie that I quite adored. And she's actually quite good in that movie, too.
Remind me, is she the one it's her and Kristen Stewart, right?
She's Kristen Stewart's girlfriend, but her parents don't know, and she's afraid to tell them.
So they're visiting her family, not Kristen Stewart's family?
Okay. Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
So she's the one with the problem in the movie.
Accurate. She's kind of a bitch. Yeah. And she screwed over Aubrey Plaza at one point in time as well. So, yeah, that's a good movie, though. And I was like, yeah, she was in Terminator, but then I was like, I remember her crying in something. So I was trying to figure out what it was. And I did. She's quite good in this as well. She's obviously very beautiful and really good at the role that's asked of her here. And look, cut to the chase. The female characters in this are very much archetypes like the male characters are. So if she seems like the cool badass girl that doesn't get her feelings hurt by a boy, that will change. And but she's so good in it that me personally, I was pretty swept up with the storyline with her and Miles Teller.
Out of the three couples, was that the one where you're like, I hope they make it work?
Yes, absolutely. Because, spoiler alert, I didn't think Zac Efron deserved Imogene Poots back.
Agreed. And the entire time with Michael B. Jordan, I was like, dude, come on, call the girl with the glasses.
Yeah, no shit. You're playing with fire, man. So, Mikey meets a girl with glasses while Jason meets Ellie and hits it off with her after teasing another man that was trying to buy her a drink. Mikey gets Glasses' number, but puts calling her off, resolving to work it out with Vera. In a very strange turn of events, he gets this girl's number, she writes it on a coaster, and he masturbates to her phone number.
Have you ever been that brokenhearted, Alex?
No.
Brokenhearted and horny. And I guess desperate, like short on material?
Yeah, I mean, we also are in the age of smartphones, so I'm never a pocket's length away from getting material that I need to, get from point A to point B. But, whatever floats his boat. He's probably really jacked up and whatnot. And so much so that he inadvertently used bronzer as lube, which, that segues to the Lino-Rama portion of the movie, which I knew you were thrilled about.
Yes. And I was like, all right, I guess it comes with the territory. God damn you, Judd Apatow.
It was too late. We were too far gone at this point. Jason sleeps with Ellie, but leaves her apartment in a hurry after jumping to the mistaken conclusion that she is a prostitute. Big time slut shaming here, because what does it take for him to think that? Like a pair of tall boots and the fact that she has condoms around her bed. And is there something else that I missed?
There's a book, which I guess that went over my head. This is the rare moment where the movie was more intellectual than me, where, what's it called? The Story of O, The Sound of O. It's a book with a black cover, and he brings it up when he's listing all the reasons why. And she's like, I was doing research. So does the O stand for orgasm? Maybe. But there is, look, this is probably the moment to address the fact that these guys are, in today, 10 years later, however long, by today's standards, they are not the heroes we deserve as far as protagonists in a romantic comedy. I think that if you were to remake that awkward moment today, they would probably pull back, if not completely eliminate, the subplot about how demeaning they find the fact that she might be a sex worker. And it's not just like on their end, but it's just basically the whole misconception spreads, right? Because it's like Efron, but then it's Miles Teller. And then when she finds out, she's also kind of indignant. And today they would just own it, right? And I think at first I was looking at it with today's eyes, and I was like, I hope that she's actually having sex for money and that she tells him, what's up? Did you have a good time or not?
Way to be open-minded, dickhead.
But no, it's just a harmless in the end. The misconception and misunderstanding, because they end up just laughing about it. And now that's just going to be one of the stories they're going to tell their kids, 20 years from now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Alex, you look at these guys and I was conflicted because I'm, much older now. And like I said, we live in 2025. So I'm watching them almost like I've hung out with these guys. I've been in these situations, but I'm no longer one of them. And I was constantly wrestling with my instinct to go like, hey, you should do better, versus my instinct to just join the party and just like hug them and have drinks with them. Did you find yourself similarly torn? You're like, I don't know if I want to chastise them or hang out with them.
They go out way too much for me. I'd be like, nah, let's just stay in, man. Let's stay in and play Xbox. That sounds like a more fun life. And also the way they are portrayed to be chasing women in this movie seems like something that I have not done in a long time, and with good reason. So I could see at a certain point in my life, I'll say, that I might have buddied up to them, because with three hot dudes like that, I would get like the overflow, when
minimum effort.
Exactly.
So you guys still haven't gotten Mikey any action?
No.
Like nothing?
It's just harder than you think.
The next day, wouldn't you know it, Julio, Jason and Daniel make a book cover pitch to a new author who happens to be Ellie, because this is how things work in the big city, man. Ellie is hurt and enraged that he did not stay the whole night, but Jason just barely manages to make up for it, and they begin seeing each other on a regular basis.
He draws her a comic.
That's right. He fucking wraps it up and frames it. That's a pretty intense gesture for someone, though, if you're just like, your main goal is just to, bang. That's a pretty sweet gesture.
Maybe that's why he's so successful, Zac Efron. He goes the extra mile with the hookups.
I guess so. Meanwhile, Daniel begins to fall for Chelsea, and the two begin seeing one another. Additionally, Mikey meets Vera, and when she claims that the reason their marriage fell apart is because he is not spontaneous enough, he kisses her, and the two fuck in the hospital, reigniting their romance. All three friends attempt to keep their relationships a secret due to their earlier agreement that they would stay single. The relationships all come to a head during Thanksgiving, a time that the three friends usually spend together, but varying circumstances keep them apart. So, a few things to catch up on here. Number one, you can put this in the Thanksgiving movie category. I'm going to allow it.
Okay, good. I was
Yes.
wondering. I wrote it. I'm like, is this a Thanksgiving movie? And then the longer that Thanksgiving party went on, I'm like, it definitely is.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically the climax of the second act.
Yeah, and the Thanksgiving party is... We got to get to a few things before we get to that point. Specifically, the romance between Jason and Ellie. A pretty slick move that I would never have thought to have done. But of course, you have to have the right kind of personality on the person you're courting for it to kind of, pay off in the way that it does here, in which he takes her on a date to like this townhouse or like apartment that she's interested in. And they pose as wealthy folk that are interested in purchasing it. And
did you get really excited when he said his name was Von Air, but then he went out with a different name?
And then he ends up like stealing a key, though, from the apartment that gets him into like this park nearby. But Julio, this is a pretty slick move. I got to give him credit for this one. Okay,
but now you were talking about how it may be overdoing it if you're doing the little comic and frame it. This could be a crime.
Well, and also he's a fucking asshole at this point being like, whoa, we're just like having fun here. It's like, you clearly care about this girl, because what you're doing for here is extremely like meaningful. You listened to what she said and paid attention, and now you're taking her on this, like, to her, a really meaningful date. So yeah, fuck off, Zac Efron. You know what you're doing.
It works so well that they have sex, even though she had planned to make him wait for 40 days.
That's
Do
right.
you think that they were referencing that Josh Hartnett movie where he can't masturbate for 40 days?
I couldn't tell you.
No, the thing that was most striking to me was that you cut to them having had sex, and so it's an overhead shot. And dude, I mean, I can't tell you with 100% certainty because I didn't rewatch the movie, but I want to say that is very close to the same shot of after Imogen Poots and Owen Wilson have sex, and She's Funny That Way, where it's also, you know, from overhead, and she's kind of wrapped on the sheet, and they're talking about.
When you bring that up, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I do want to say briefly, now that you brought that up, the biggest compliment I can give Imogen Poots in this movie is, even though the film is taking place in New York City, she is not attempting to have a New Yorker accent.
God, that would have made this movie so endearing, though, if she was just calling back
the same thing she tried, and She's Funny That Way.
Yes. I know I was just projecting, but there were times where I felt a twinge of that accent coming through, and I think it's just the way that whenever she's trying to drop her natural accent, I think that's just the inflection she gets. But I thought it was adorable. Upgrade, though, from Owen Wilson, who was married, to he was married and an asshole. Here, at least Zac Efron, maybe an asshole, but he's single, so step up.
I was so not gonna do that. I was gonna make you wait like 40 days.
I was gonna make you wait too, then to realize I'm a dude.
The relationship with Ellie and Jason develops even further when she invites him over to it's a party she's having, and she explains that it's a dress-up party. And of course, in a very bro man clouded brain kind of way, he assumes that means like a costume party. And what she meant by dress-up party, Julio, is formal clothing.
Right. And
he shows up wearing a giant strap-on dildo because his costume is rock out with my cock out, which isn't even even in 2014 that was played out, brother. But
those are the things you get away with when you look like Zac Efron.
Absolutely. If someone like me did that, I never would have recovered. She would have kicked me out and never talked to me again. But Zac Efron,
you would have called the cops, dude. You wouldn't even have made it to Imogen Poots.
That's right. And he's just so charming and so hot that he can just get away with it. But it leads to, this embarrassing moment that he plays off, and he meets her parents this way, and the charm kind of shines through, and he hits it off specifically with her dad, and they get along really well.
Perhaps the best line of the movie is in this sequence when he's walking through all the shock guests, and some dude in the background goes, "Sick cock, bro."
I did also laugh when his strap-on dildo falls into her mom's martini or whatever, and he very nervously goes, "It's a cocktail," and then everyone's just really quiet. He's like, "I shouldn't have said that."
Speaking of cocks, Alex, might as well ask you now because it's brought up in the movie, and I can say that I haven't had this experience. But have you ever taken Viagra? Is this a thing that happens where they have to pee? Would they position themselves perpendicular to the toilet?
I can't say that I have. But yeah, I don't know. My understanding is that shit gets you really bricked up. And so maybe there's no controlling it. In my experience, you can usually tame the beast somehow, but these guys, the way they portray it is they have to like you said, they have to plank on the toilet to piss. At that point, wouldn't you just piss in the bathtub?
Yeah, or you can probably angle your body in a way where you don't have to be, directly. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I think 100%, but also you and I aren't attractive like Miles Teller and Zac Efron, so audiences wouldn't want to see the silhouette of our butts. And here, I think that's really important to the movie.
So for it to be radar, were you disappointed that we didn't get neither Efron butt or Teller butt? We got side butt.
We got the side profile, yeah. The language is there, so I wasn't particularly surprised that we didn't get full on Fassbender reveals of the two of them here.
They were saving that for Michael B. Jordan, but then he said no.
That scene, yeah, there was a contract dispute halfway through filming. Yeah, heading into this Thanksgiving thing too, he finds out his wife's still seeing that other man, and she tells him, we're just having fun here, but I'm not in love with you anymore. Michael B. Jordan's whole, his story in this, it's not truncated, but it's one of those things when you cut back to it, it's just kind of oh, yeah, that's going on. But he's such a good actor that you buy all of his emotion in it. And that would be his Oscar clip, right? When he's at the dinner table waiting for his estranged wife to come for Thanksgiving lunch.
Yes. Well, when she finally arrives.
Oh, yeah. Not when he's waiting, but when he kind of reads of the riot act.
I knew that he was going to say something. He starts talking about the wine. And I'm like, okay, he's going to use this line of conversation about the wine to drop it somehow. And I really thought that he was going to say, because, he's like, there's something off with the wine. Tastes a little weird. And I thought he was going to say, or maybe you're still fucking that lawyer. But he was a little more restrained.
Got your ass.
Instead, he says, that guy's jacket's still in the closet.
And he even makes a comment like, it's a nice jacket, but goddamn.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy. He can't even fully hate the guy that's cocking him. This story, Alex, the Michael B. Jordan story, I think this is the brilliance of the movie. Because when she tells him, we're just having fun, because we like Michael B. Jordan, when we're on his side and we're seeing things from his perspective, we instantly react negatively. We're like, well, fuck you. He deserved better. But when you think about it, she's not acting any differently than Miles Teller or Zac Efron or even Michael B. Jordan whenever, he was single, right? Like we laugh whenever Miles Teller and Zac Efron are talking about the roster and, they're having their shenanigans with different women and so on. But we don't laugh when Michael B. Jordan's wife, when Vera, is doing the same thing. And that's the moment where the movie just holds the mirror to your face. It's like, look, it's not that funny when you're on the other side of it, right? When you're the one on the roster instead of being the one that has the roster.
Not so innocent and charming now, is it?
Right. Kind of sucks that they used it. They made the nicest guy in the movie suffer to teach us that lesson, but I guess that's how the world works. I felt really bad for him. I think that if you made it this long into your life, however old you are, without having experienced that kind of heartbreak, you're pretty lucky. But it rings so true because he's angry, he's disappointed, he storms out, and then he comes back because he is so invested in this relationship. He really needs her to tell him that she doesn't love him anymore. Even though, we can tell everything else in the story is pointing out to that. Yeah, he's so good in the movie. And you're right. I mean, out of the three, his story is the one that is the least funny, but it's necessary. I mean, I think that if you remove it, then the movie loses its soul. Then who cares about, what happens with Zac Efron and Imogen Poots? And Miles Teller and Mackenzie Davis, it's like kind of a one-sided investment in my end because I think like you, I was just very taken by Mackenzie Davis, her performance. And I like her from pretty much everything I've seen her in. So I was like, look, if Mackenzie Davis hooking up with Miles Teller is what needs to happen so we get more Mackenzie Davis, sure, let's do it.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Cheers to me getting awesome blowjobs and just being good at it.
Such an idiot. Oh.
Yeah, this movie goes out of its way to remind you that nice guys finish last, baby. It's the way. It's the way of the world. So right before Thanksgiving, Imogen Poots, Ellie's father, passes away in the film, and she of course asks Zac Efron to be there.
Well, she doesn't. That's his excuse that she didn't invite him.
Oh, what a fucking dick! But then she texts him like, "Are you coming?" or something like that.
I formally invite you to my father's funeral. Please RSVP.
I sent you address. Please come to my dad's funeral. They should have shown him like in the car, and she texts him like, they're lowering the coffin right now. You can still make it.
Dropping a pin on the cemetery.
But yeah, it's on Thanksgiving, and instead he chooses to go to be with his friends, which is a really shitty thing to do. So this all comes to a head where, they find out that Daniel and Chelsea are hooking up, and then she gets mad because he didn't tell them. And it's a very not unlike Crazy Stupid Love sequence, except this is good, where all these lies are exposed, and it even ends up with does Michael B. Jordan punch Zac Efron? Is that
yes?
Yeah,
so deserved. We've been waiting the entire movie for this.
It's true. I mean, he's Creed's son after all.
Yeah.
Got a sharp right.
Knock him out.
No shit. Efron kind of no-sells it. He's just like, kind of squinting. He's like, man, fuck you.
After he leaves the bathroom, he just leans his head against the wall. He's like, oh my God.
Jason ultimately decides not to attend the funeral, not ready to fully commit to Ellie, dickhead, and their relationship falls apart. Mikey has a serious conversation with Vera during their dinner, causing her to admit that she no longer loves him. Jason and Mikey head to dinner where they discover Daniel's relationship with Chelsea, and when he denies that they are dating, his relationship falls apart as well. Although the three fight about having kept their relationship secret, they repair their friendship and try to recover their relationships. Mikey calls Glasses, setting up a date, and Daniel reunites with Chelsea after being hit by a taxi and ending up in the hospital. I'm going to tell you right now, Julio, that added an entire star to the movie for me.
Which
I
part?
laughed when fucking, so Miles Teller and Zac Efron like meet at this coffee shop and they talk about, you know, being in love, and Miles Teller's like talking in like, you know, the way they talk in movies. He's like, I just love her so much. I love when she wakes up, and Zac Efron's like, you know what? You need to go get her, and just kind of hypes him up. And he like runs out and he's like, I'm going to go get her. And he runs in the street and gets hit by a car. I laughed so fucking hard. I kind of like snickered at other things in this movie. There's a couple things I was like, that's good. I was like legitimate, like yell belly laughing because it comes out of nowhere. Because especially the way they set up the scene where you think it's going to be like Jerry Maguire. He just runs down the street and, you know, says, I love you. But then he gets fucking just blindsided by this car. And the stuntman, whoever got hit to, took a hell of a bump. So it looks just fantastic.
Yeah, it's sad. This is after Zac Efron goes to the bar, right? And he talks to an older dude that I was like, have we seen this guy before?
Oh, yeah, where he's like looking into the future.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say because he pours his heart out and the guy was like, sounds like you need to get laid. I'm like, oh, the movie knows. The movie knows that he needs to do better. This is old man Efron talking to him, and kind of like the Michael Jordan scene, right? Just holding a mirror to Zac Efron's face. Dude! I would think this is Miles Teller's Oscar clip before he gets hit by the car. You know, when they're in the coffee shop and he's going, they reference Jerry Maguire and they reference The Notebook, and he's just going on and on about, what he loves about Mackenzie Davis.
And then, they get together. He and Chelsea rekindle their love while he's in the hospital. However, Jason is still not reconciled with Ellie, despite still being in love with her. 2 months later, Mikey and Daniel help Jason by encouraging him to tell her his love at one of her weekly book readings, which are usually sparsely attended. However, upon their arrival, the reading is full and Jason is unable to figure out a way to talk to her. He decides to make a scene by improvising a book reading, referencing their first meeting and requesting that they start over again by meeting at Gramercy Park. Could not help but think about Mean Girls during this whole thing, because he's like, I'd like to do a reading. They're like, this isn't like an open mic night. And he says, tough act to follow. And the author's like, then don't. And he starts talking, and I just immediately see Tim Meadows. He's like, the winner typically doesn't make a speech.
That's funny. I was thinking about 10 things I hate about you, because he just goes on and on. He's talking about his relationship with Imogen Poots, but everybody else in the room, they think that he's talking about literature. He's reading from his book, and then they break into applause. The best part is Imogen Poots drops a single tear. She pulls a Denzel, and I'm like, there you go. She's a real one. This moment, Alex, you did you let the romance sway you? Did you let Zac Efron earn your forgiveness for being such a dick the entire movie?
Personally, no, but also it is an interesting film in that way. Obviously, She's Funny That Way had already come out, so it's not like Imogen Poots was an inexperienced actress or anything. But it's like we were talking about, the lineup of this movie has aged tremendously. And so kind of watching it through that lens, it's kind of funny to watch the two of them try this, rom-com style of acting. And it is good. But no, she still should have told him to go pack sand.
She just let him freeze outside Gramercy Park.
Yeah. Just runs by and dumps a bucket of cold water on him.
She calls the cops on him because, he stole that key.
Yes, that's the ultimate. But she does make him wait a bit. The movie returns to the beginning where Jason is waiting for Ellie in Gramercy Park. 4 hours later, she joins him on the bench and he begins with So he's learned his lesson and, is ready to move forward, whatever that may mean.
that's the thesis of the movie. That was the as I was watching it, and there's a couple times where Zac Efron starts talking about it's not a theory, it's just his set of beliefs, I guess, right? That nothing good ever happens after the girl you're dating says so. And I was like, that's the statement of the movie. That's how you know you got a solid rom-com in your hands, because at some point the protagonist has to tell you what they believe, and then the rest of the movie is either going to prove it or disprove it. But instantly, right, when Harry Met Sally, like the statement is men and women can't be friends, and then the rest of the movie goes and tries to tell you, they can, no, they can't. I was like, oh, well, they can, but they also can be in a relationship and so on. So when he gets here to the end and he says so, but it's a so filled with hope, you're like, all right. So he changed his mind, obviously.
Men can learn. Men
can learn. In fact, boys will be boys until they find the one. He literally calls her the one when he's doing his little reading.
He does. You're right.
She goes, Neo? I said, no. The one for me. I mean, it's based on how Miles Teller is behaving after becoming Facebook official with, nobody says Facebook official anymore.
That part of it is dated when they're talking about like relationship status and stuff. I was like, oh man, remember that?
Yeah, when because Michael B. Jordan is sad because his wife changed her status, no longer married, no, just blank. But anyway, Miles Teller, once they're official with Mackenzie Davis, now he's talking about, he sounds a little more sensible. He's still kind of a dick and likes to make fun of everybody, but he's very clearly in love and not having a problem expressing it. So I guess, you just have to find the right person. That's what the movie's telling you. Even these guys.
That's all it takes.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy. It's kind of surprising the more people don't do it. Just find the right one.
They gave you the playbook here.
One final thing. Alex, how do you watch this movie?
I rented it on YouTube.
Did the title say that awkward moment, or did it say, are we officially dating?
It said that awkward moment.
Okay. So mine said, are we officially dating? Which threw me for a loop because I rented it on Amazon Prime. And when you rent it, it says that awkward moment. And then, he's doing his opening monologue, Zac Efron, and you get the shots of the city and the cast are showing up. And then when you saw the title, that awkward moment, I saw the title, are we officially dating? And so I was like, I know that's not the title of the movie. So is this like a chapter thing, right? Like, it's chapter 1, are we officially dating? I'm like, but they haven't given me the title of the movie yet. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then once it was wrapping up, I realized that the end credits started rolling. I'm like, son of a bitch, the title of the movie never showed up. So I had to go and like look online to see what the deal was. And apparently that's what it's called in Australia. That's what it was called originally. And then
interesting, when
they released it in the US, they changed the title to That Awkward Moment. But then when they released it in Australia, they went back to the original title when it was a screenplay of Are We Officially Dating? I think That Awkward Moment is a much better title.
Oh yeah, I would agree. That other one is not going to fit on a marquee, brother.
How'd you like the blooper end credits? We don't do those anymore.
Those are always fun. Omar from The Wire I was like, what? That was really random.
I thought it was random, and then I was reminded by the internet that Michael B. Jordan was on The Wire too.
Yeah, but still, it was kind of like, huh? So
I guess he came to visit his buddy.
So that was that awkward moment.
That was a Jason Nerdrover pick that I didn't see coming. So, Alex, are you ready for real talk?
I am ready to move along to real talk, my friend.
Let's do it.